Okay, hello and welcome everyone. I'm Jason Gumper from MSDynamicsWorld.com. Thanks for joining us for today's event, part of our Fall 2015 CRM webcast series. Today we're joined by Mitch Milam. He's a returning speaker for us, and many of you likely know him already. Mitch is a software industry veteran. He's a Dynamics CRM developer and trainer, as well as a Microsoft MVP. And it's great to have him back today to talk about training strategies for Dynamics CRM user adoption. I also want to recognize our CRM event series sponsor, Scribe Software, and thank them for their support this season. And to get this event started, please do know that we do invite you in the audience to add your feedback and ask questions today during the event. You can use the Q&A panel that you should see to the right of the presentation presentation window to ask your questions. So without further delay, let me hand it off to Mitch.
Thanks, Jason. It's a pleasure to be here today. Good morning, everybody, afternoon, depending on where you're from. So today we're going to be talking about 7 strategies to help you increase your Microsoft Dynamics CRM user adoption. So this is just some things that I put together through my years of experience. Your mileage is going to vary. We'll have some Q&A at the end. If you've got some other suggestions, I would absolutely positively love to hear those suggestions. So if I miss anything, hey, make a note and we'll get to it at the end. So like Jason said, my name is Mitch Milam. I am a Dynamics CRM architect. I'm also an independent consultant, a 9-time MVP for Dynamics CRM. Please feel free to reach out to me at some point in the future if you have any questions about anything I covered today.
Hey, Mitch, we're having audio problems, it seems, or at least it's just a low level right now. Is there any way you can get closer to your mic?
Yeah, how about this?
Yeah, even a little closer if possible.
Okay, how about that? Is that better?
I think that'll work. If folks in the audience want to let us know, though, we can continue.
Okay. How's this? Is this better?
I think that's better. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, as I said, if anybody has any questions about what we're covering today, please feel free to email me at mitch@xrmcoaches.com. I'm on Twitter, of course, and my main blog is infinite-x.net. So strategy number 1 is assemble your toolbox. So this goes into a couple different factors here. The first is actually the technical resources. So one of the things that most people use for documentation, of course, is Microsoft Word or something that works like Microsoft Word. Also, I use Snagit and Camtasia from TechSmith. So Snagit allows me to do screenshots and videos recordings, and Camtasia allows me to create longer length videos that I can actually edit later on, and you can edit use Camtasia to edit your stuff with. Another great feature that is seldom even thought about is the Windows Step Recorder. So this is something that is actually built into Microsoft Windows starting at least in version 7, and it allows you to take screenshots as you do steps through a process. So you can actually use the step recorder to actually record the screenshots, and what happens is anytime you click a mouse, it will take a screenshot of that and end up creating an HTML document that you can actually use as the basis for whatever documentation you're creating. So that's a great resource there. The next thing is the people that you have around you. So you need to garner your subject matter experts, because if you are in a training facility of some type, you may not know how the actual business works. So you need to find these mavens of knowledge, the masters of the how-to. And I know that somebody there somewhere is the who's it who knows the what's it. Okay, not to invoke my inner Dr. Seuss or anything, but that's one of the things I've learned. So when you're working with these people, remember, everybody's going to have a different level of knowledge of the different processes that work within the system, within either CRM itself, within the business itself. So you need to find these people so that you can actually get them to explain how things work and help you develop your training facilities and your training materials. Strategy number 2 is to actually define your delivery strategy. So this can be just about anything you can imagine. So one of the common ones is to create some kind of internal website. A lot of people use SharePoint since they have it as probably either part of their package that they have or something. So a place that everybody can go to where they know they can find their information. So it could be as simple as a drive share. It could be an internal website. It doesn't really matter what it is as long as everybody knows where it is and the information is updated there. The next thing you have to think about is, are you going to create printed or online documentation? One of the things that is very helpful is for people to have things that they can actually look at on paper. Not everybody is going to learn the same way, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So sometimes having a printed document or an online document, either a PDF or a web page, is very valuable for a lot of people. So keep that in mind. The next thing is videos. So videos are very helpful when you're trying to show somebody something, and sometimes when you get into it, it's actually easier to actually record what you're talking about than it is to actually document it on a piece of paper. It really truly depends what it is and what the point you're trying to get across. So either one of these things is a great way to do stuff. In-person training. So many people do classroom training, or they will do a one-on-one training remotely, or they will have everybody get on a screen share or whatever it might be for in-person training. All of these things are valuable, and again, it depends on the person because everybody learns differently. Webinars, and I'm talking about an internal webinar, or even a webinar like what we're talking about today. So these things are all valuable to your students, and they're all useful because remember, everybody learns differently. So having a variety of options, if you can, now everything I mentioned is going to take up time, so you're really going to have to be kind of judicious in what you do. So what you can do is maybe do some of each and see what people actually like or what they respond to better, and then focus on those areas. That's what I would do. Because again, some people don't like to watch videos because they're too slow. They just want to look at a piece of paper or a web page and say, oh, you know, step 5, do this. This is the step I was missing. That's what I need to do. So some people will like it better like that. Some people like to be walked through either by a person on the phone or by somebody, you know, having recorded it in the past. One of the things I was doing some training up at the University of Minnesota Moorhead last spring as an adjunct professor, and one of the really cool things that the help desk did is anytime I ask a question about, okay, on this learning tool that the teachers use, the professors, how do I do this? And what the support guy would do is he'd actually record a little video and send it to me like, this is how you do this. And that helped me because that was always basically available to me to look at later if I ever had a secondary question. I could just go back and look at his stuff.
Hey, Mitch.
Yeah,
the audio issues here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's continuing to be a problem.
Okay.
Do you think we'd have to try dialing?
Yeah, hang on, and I'll call back in on the phone. Hang on one second.
All right, thanks. So just hang on, folks. Mitch is going to disconnect, reconnect his audio with a different line, and we'll see if that fixes the problem.
How about this, Jason?
It does sound better for the moment. Yep. Let's give that a try.
Okay. So as I mentioned, everybody learns differently. So what we can do is basically do things in a different way. And again, it's going to depend 100% on your organization and on everything that you set up. So everybody's going to be different. So there is no right or wrong reason for this. Okay. Helen, thank you very much for the comment, and fits right into strategy number 3. Let's solve small problems, okay? Create small, digestible, can you speak today? Small, digestible nuggets of content. Helen recommends 2-minute videos or shorter work really well because people can actually look at them. That's absolutely 100% correct. Realistically, what you do is you solve a single problem. I need to know how to do X. You record how to do X, not X, Y, and Z. So what I like to do is, no matter what I'm doing, try to keep it 3 to 5 minutes maximum. And that way what you do is you build up a very small, or a very large library of very small nuggets. And the really cool thing about that is if something changes with that, then what will happen is it actually is easier to replace one thing with another rather than having a 30-minute video. Because quite honestly, I can't stand 30-minute videos, okay, because I'm after one thing. Now I've got to fast forward and try to figure out where that person's talking about that one thing, and I'm sure a lot of people are just like me because they're in a hurry and really don't care about all the background. I just need this one thing solved for me. Let's do it like that. So Helen, thank you very much. So the way I like to do it is define the problem, show them how to solve the problem in the lesson, in the story right there. So again, here's how you do this. Believe it or not, I need to format this document. I need to add a heading to this document, say Microsoft Word. I'm going to show them how to show the style bar. I'm going to show them how to select the text, how to apply the style in the story. Okay, so again, very, very simple stuff to do. And remember, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So Dynamics CRM at this point in time, you know, at the end of 2015 with version 2015, soon to be version 2016, what's going to happen is there's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, I started with version 3.0. There was a lot in 3.0. It's, oh, who can tell me, 5 times, 10 times as much as it used to be. So there's a lot to the product. So again, don't try to consume the whole thing at once. Just take a piece and work on that and do that piece, and then go forward from there, a piece at a time. That's what you do. Number 4 is something that people often overlook because they get you know, truly in the weeds and they can't see the forest for the trees. Ask for help.
Hey, Mitch, I'm sorry to interrupt, but your audio is almost dropping out again.
Okay.
Do you have a dial-in option that you could try?
Hang on. Well, actually, is this better?
No, it's still pretty variable.
Okay.
So sorry about that, folks, but I think Mitch will try to reconnect with one more option that I think he has. We'll see if that fixes the problem. So please hang on. Hey, Mitch, it looks like you're back.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, is that better?
And yeah, it's sounding good. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Okay. So, as I was saying, don't feel the need that you have to create all of the material by yourself because that is just going to be too much for most people to actually physically do. You know, again, it depends on how much material you're creating, things like that. But, you know, you can ask for help. So have users or subject matter experts create content for you. As I mentioned, using the Windows Step Recorder is a really great tool for that because they can actually do the brunt of the work of like taking screenshots and stuff with that tool. Then you take the screenshots and you make them into documentation. So you are the editor in charge of the final product. You just get other people to help you actually do the work of recording the process that you can use either as videos or as printed or online documentation. So keep that in mind. Strategy number 5 is to develop coaches. So what I like to do is develop mentors, and these are people who are in your organization already who either know CRM at a higher level or know your business process at a higher level and can actually communicate how things work with other people. That's actually the key. Just because you know things doesn't mean you can actually teach things to other people. So you have to kind of find out who can do both at the same time. That's what we're after. So again, we have to identify or develop subject matter experts. A lot of times that's just someone who's a power user who knows more than anyone else on that specific thing. There's a concept that came about, I think it was back maybe in the 1970s, and they were talking about having each one teach one was a process that people were using throughout the United States anyway, about sharing knowledge about how things work with other people. So the idea behind each one teach one is everyone knows something, and they can communicate that something to someone else, and then that person can communicate it to someone else. So this is a very, very easy way of developing a training scenario where you have one person learn it, they teach someone else who teaches someone else, etc. It doesn't apply to all organizations, but this is a very good option if you can do it. So strategy number 6 is shared experiences. So a lot of people like to use the concept of a lunch and learn. So what they'll do is they'll maybe once a week, depending on the situation, possibly once a day, once every couple of days, whatever it might be, have a lunch and learn. So what we do is we bring in lunch. The company provides lunch, or you can bring your own depending on your budget. You take a handful of topics, no more than, say, 5 or 10 minutes each, and you have someone talk to that topic. And it's basically it's a pure knowledge transfer. People can get interactive. They can ask people questions about how things work. They get to eat lunch. They get to kind of talk to the other people who are working through stuff, and they can share their knowledge. That's the whole point of this physical interaction here. Maybe you can do topic of the day webinars. So maybe first thing in the morning, or maybe at 10 o'clock or whatever is a good time for you to do this. Have an internal webinar where you take a topic of, again, very short duration, and say, okay, today's topic is going to be how to import leads. And you take that topic and you just show people how to do it, get questions answered, things like that. So again, you're just taking something that somebody does, showing them how to do it, answering their questions, and then doing that every day or every couple of days, whatever, again, makes sense for you. So all these things that I mentioned in this can be done either by the training department, which could be you yourself, or it could be you actually have a large organization where you have a true training department, or it can be done by users. And again, don't think that you have to do everything yourself. Ask for help when you need it or when you can get it. So don't think you can do it by yourself or have to do it by yourself. Ask other people to help, and a lot of times people will be thrilled to be able to share what they know with other people. Another thing that I've seen companies do, especially when you get to the larger side companies, is they'll actually create an internal users group. So we'll have a CRM group, and then we'll maybe have a specialist group or a SIG for, say, here's people that work with leads. How do you focus on leads? How do you work with the sales opportunities? How does customer service actually work? What is our case management process? Are we doing it correctly? Things like that. And then finally, strategy number 7 is some final tips and tricks. So this concept has been around for a long time, and I couldn't find any documentation to back this up with a quick search, but there's been many things I've seen over the years that people find learning past 4 p.m. very difficult, strictly because they've had a full day, they're kind of mentally exhausted, and it's just kind of hard to absorb new material after 4. Most of the classes that I teach, I do not like to teach after 4, strictly because of those reasons. A lot of people will actually have training after work. I don't think that's a good use of time, because again, people just want to get home. They're tired. They've had a long day. They've had issues to deal with. If I do training, if we're doing a quick thing, either do it in the early morning or do it at noon, but don't do it in the afternoon. Just a thing to think about. This is the one I love actually the best. You can see it in different things, but MBWA, Management by Wandering Around. So back in the 80s, I used to do PC support, and this was how I supported most of my users. I would just periodically walk around the building and see what people are doing if they had any problems, and you would be surprised how many people will stop you when you walk by or talk to you when you ask them a question, would never, ever pick up the phone. So this is a way, if you can do it, again, with today's, virtual environments where people are spread out all over the country and all over the world in some cases, it may be a little bit harder to do. If you're doing that, then you kind of have to do a virtual wandering around. But this is a great way of doing stuff. Another good thing that you can do is, it kind of goes back to our internal website, is create a location for people to share tips and tricks. So SharePoint's really good for this if you have that, or any kind of facility that you can do that will allow somebody to input a tip and trick, maybe with documentation, maybe with not documentation, at least the steps that do it, or enough descriptive information to make it work. As long as you can get that going, it doesn't really matter where it sits or what the format is, just whatever works for you, and allow people to share their information. Okay, so they need to be able to share it very easily, and the key is people need to be able to find it very easily. So again, if you're using SharePoint, you can use the indexing that's built into SharePoint for like Word documents or PDFs and things like that. That's always a good thing. Another way that you can do this is actually use the term that people started using a couple years ago called gamification. So there's at least 2 CRM products that I know of that actually add a spirit of gaming to Dynamics CRM, to where they actually award points and you can win things, and it kind of really depends on your organization. But the idea here is you can reward people for participation in the process, whether it be just using the system. Maybe you could have a contest 1 month and say, whoever can contribute the most tips and tricks gets a free lunch or a afternoon off, or whatever it might be. But turn these things into a learning experience that's fun. That's the thing you really need to think about is, a lot of times work is hard, and, you don't need to make it harder. So by adding a little bit of fun to it without making it overtly, you have to do this type of thing, I think it really helps everybody. So here's a wrap-up of the strategies we talked about today. So assembling your toolbox, defining your training delivery strategy, solving small problems, asking for help, developing your coaches, sharing your experiences, and assembling your tips and tricks. So what questions do we have today? Ben asked about what gamification programs can I recommend. I don't actually have any recommendations. My friend Pablo from down from Uruguay, he is another MVP. His company has a gamification thing that looks pretty cool. I've never actually implemented it myself, but I've just seen people use it. Helen also mentions looking over somebody's shoulders to see if they're doing things inefficiently. That's a good way, but you kind of got to watch out for that, Helen, because it can get kind of creepy. Because people don't really like to have people watch over their shoulders, but it is a good thing to do in some cases. Helen says in a nice way. Yes, in a nice and not creepy way. You can look over people's shoulders. Any other questions? Any suggestions anybody has for anything I may have missed covering? Helen mentions using dashboard display usage data. That's also a good thing. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Do you see the comment from Kim, Mitch?
I did not.
So it's asking about delivery strategies. Yeah, up at the top. Can you discuss your thoughts on live and virtual delivery of training and the differences?
That's a great thing, Kim. So live versus virtual. In all honesty, almost every bit of training that I do these days myself is virtual, strictly because it's cheaper and it's more efficient for everybody. I don't have to worry about getting on a plane. I don't get taken away from my family. I can fire it up and get things done and be at home. One thing I did a couple years ago is I would take my classes, and I have a lot of 2-day classes that I do that I wrote, and I would split that into 4 days. So what we would do is we'd do 4 half days instead of 2 full days. And that allowed everybody to get work done, me and the students. So that worked out really well. I kind of coming back and forth. It's more expensive to do some of these things, but it's also it can be very productive. Now, as far as the live events, a lot of people still like people in the room to speak with, and quite honestly, I'm not sure 100% why that is. I think a lot of people don't find comfort in asking people things over the phone or over GoToMeeting or a webinar or whatever it might be. There's still a little bit of a hesitation, even though it's a closed. A lot of times it's a closed group. So some people still like to have someone in person to ask a question to. So I don't think live in-person training is going to be replaced 100% by virtual training anytime soon. But I just found the virtual training with the tools that are available to us these days are much more efficient for everybody, strictly because, again, lower cost, lower stress on both the students and the instructor, and it's just, a better way all the way around, I think. James asks, how do you motivate people who are not tech savvy to get defensive? Very carefully. The main thing with any kind of technology thing is, make sure they understand we're not replacing what you do. We're helping you do your job. That's the idea. Now, that may not always be the case, quite honestly. Sometimes we are replacing what they do, but that's a different argument. A lot of people are not tech savvy, so just, the main thing is just kind of be patient and, try to figure out what motivates the person and then kind of speak to that strength there so that, you can help people do stuff. Yeah, Helen mentions constant reinforcement, low level, not overwhelming. That's totally true. And, try not to speak down to people. I mean, I grew up on a farm in Arkansas, so trying to explain what I do to my parents, sometimes I just get blank stares. And, and I'm kind of used to that by now. But, it's kind of overwhelming when you tell people do stuff. And, you just kind of have to adapt to that. But, yeah, again, keep it simple, keep it short and to the point. And, again, if you can do that, and have things, have materials. A lot of the people who are not tech savvy work better on paper, quite honestly, I think. I could be wrong, but I think. So maybe if you have documentation that's physical paper documentation, okay, print this out. Or have it in a place like a PDF or a web page that they can print out so that they can look back at it. So you explain it to them, have them go through it to show that they understand it, and then leave them a document that they can go back through to reiterate what they did, what you said and what they did, so that they can reinforce it by themselves, because people don't like to look stupid, okay? Everybody, hopefully knows that. And it may not seem like a big deal, but, having something that they can kind of cogitate on and just figure out, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing and this is what they show me and this is the document that I have that shows me what to do. Yeah, cheat sheets and quick reference cards are really good. I used to do those quite heavily in a previous line of work, and again, like Helen says, for key items only. So the things that you do all the time, if you can have a little card, here's how you do it. That's great. And Helen says, yeah, you give people a 300-page manual, it will turn them off. That's what I'm talking about. Don't give them a 300-page manual, because again, it will freak them out. And strictly because they're like, oh, my God, I have to learn all this? It's like, no, you don't have to learn all this. But what happens is it will set up such a mental block to the whole thing that they won't start, okay? Remember, people are funny. People will give you a cold shoulder and form a wall for no apparent reason to you, but it means something to them. So, if you can, again, keep the materials to a minimum, find out what works best for your people. And, again, everybody's going to learn differently. Find a commonality if you can. Helen mentions, again, just-in-time training materials. So, again, have something small that shows exactly what they're trying to do. So that's the thing that I think is the most helpful is don't give them 300 pages or, 3,000 web pages. Show them how to get to the information to do that one job. Record the video that shows them exactly how to do that step. And I think that everybody will be better off. Gordon mentions that you're migrating from 2011 to 2015. Any tips on user adoption? That is where we make the money right there, Gordon. It's fairly traumatic, quite honestly. In all honesty, at this point in time, I hate to say it, I would almost wait for 2016. This is a very, very strange thing for me to say, but for on-premise anyway, I'm assuming you're talking on-premise since you're still on 2011. And the reason I say that is with the spring update of 2015 online, they gave us the navigation where it pops down boxes. And it's much, much easier to understand. And what you're going to go with right now, if you do the standard 2015 on-premise, is you have just the linear horizontal scrolling thing that you have to kind of teach people to. It's going to be much more difficult for people to adapt to that than to the new thing. But unfortunately, the new navigation for on-premise will not be there until 2016, which will probably ship, I'm assuming, if they did like 2015, maybe the December-ish time frame, I'm not really positive, but somewhere in there. So if right now, if you're in the middle of getting ready to go to 2015, I would seriously consider evaluating the move to 2016 instead, strictly because I think you're going to have less trauma in the user community. Because as you said, going from 2011 to 2015 or 2013 is just a shock. It really is, and there's no easy way around it. It's different all over the place. So you're just going to have to. There's no easy way to do it. It just has to be done, and you just have to, give them as much information up front, explain the differences between the two things, show them where things are now versus where they used to be, and just try it like that. So if you're on CRM Online right now, you don't have any issues because you already have that new navigation. You've had it since the spring release, assuming that your org has been updated. So yeah, so just again, keep that in mind. It's like I said, it's not the end of the world, but it's not pretty. It's just not, and there's no sugarcoating about it. Okay, it's a traumatic change. So it's just one of those things. So anybody else have any comments or any questions? Those are good stuff. I really appreciate you guys chipping in today.
While we give folks maybe another second for entering their last few questions here, I do want to remind folks there's a survey that will pop up after we close out today. If you could take 15 or 20 seconds to fill that out, we'd really appreciate the feedback, both from our side and I'm sure Mitch would appreciate it too. Our speakers always like to hear about folks' experiences at our events. I'm not sure I'm seeing anything else. Are you?
Yeah, Helen mentions that it takes our people about a week to adapt from 2011 to the 13-15. That's probably about right. I hate to say this. This sounds so weird. Keep them fed. Okay, give them food. You don't want people going cannibal on you, going crazy. Just keep them fed. Keep lots of stuff in the break room, where that break room is, if you can. Again, of course, if it's virtual, it's a different thing. But if you're in a corporate environment where you have stuff, yeah, keep them preoccupied. Keep them, let them know that this will pass. The more they play, the better it'll get. If you can keep reiterating that over and over again, they'll finally understand. But it will take a little bit of time. So probably a week is not a bad guess. Okay, Vicki asked, for companies launching CRM and organizations for several hundreds of people, what do you suggest as the best approach? Pretty much, Vicki, everything that I covered. So with a large organization, your rollout and your training are going to be tied 100% together. There's just no way around it because you have to get the people trained up on the new stuff in order to deploy it. Now, it really kind of depends how you're going to do it, but the main thing is if you can implement some of the things we talked about, like and you have to implement far in advance. So have the materials ready, have your subject matter experts, have your mentors, have everybody ready to go before the users really get involved. That is a key to that. And again, as many people that are power users or mentors or whatever they may be, as many of those as you can get up and going, that will be the key to your success. Because if you don't, the users get frustrated, the help desk will get overwhelmed, the training department won't ever come back to work, things like that. So as long as you can get everybody up to speed, make sure that the documentation is as good as you can get, make sure people have an understanding of what's happening, and communication is absolutely the key to this. So, make sure people know what's going to happen, know when it's going to happen, and how it's going to happen. Anything else? Vicki asked, do you suggest documentation per role in the business unit, customized to them? To a point. You can create too much documentation, and the problem with creating too much documentation is you have to maintain too much documentation. So really what you have to watch out for is creating things people are not going to use. Okay? So that's why having task-based documentation, like I was talking about, how you do something specific is very important. Anybody else?
Mitch, did you see the question on customization?
Yes, that was the one I just read.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for the questions. A lot of great comments from several people in the audience, which has really been interesting to see from our side, and Mitch has been addressing those too. Well, Mitch, let me just take a moment to say for presenting to everyone today.
Sure, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I hope we can do it again really soon. And thanks, of course, to everyone in the audience for attending today, for asking so many great questions, for bearing with us on the audio. We did record today's session. We'll be letting you know when that recording is available for you to share with others. And with that, I will say thank you very much, and we will conclude the event.
Great. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, everybody, for showing up.
All right, thanks. Bye.